Welcome to Fictora Stories. It was a chilly evening in a small American town when 12-year-old Ethan, a poor kid with a gentle smile and a heart full of kindness, walked home after school. His shoes were worn out, his jacket was thin, and in his pocket were a few crumpled dollars he earned from stocking shelves at the local grocery store. He was saving every penny to buy a second-hand laptop so he could finally keep up with his school assignments. Life wasn't easy for Ethan and his mom. They lived in a tiny trailer at the edge of town, sometimes going to bed hungry, but Ethan never complained. He believed that life may give you little, but you can still give others a lot through kindness. As he crossed Maple Park that evening, dark clouds gathered overhead, and rain began to fall. Ethan tightened his backpack strap and sped up until he heard something. A weak, painful voice, "Help, please." Ethan froze. Ethan froze. The park was nearly empty. The voice came again, shaky and desperate. Without thinking twice, he ran toward the old gazebo. There, lying on the cold, wet ground, was an elderly man clutching his chest, gasping for air. His glasses were cracked, his hands trembling. Ethan knelt beside him. "Sir, don't worry, I'm here. I'm calling 911, he said, dialing with shaking fingers. He stayed with the man through the rain, talking to him, comforting him, keeping him awake. The man whispered, "Thank you, son." Before the ambulance finally arrived, the paramedics quickly placed him on a stretcher. One of them looked at Ethan and said, "Kid, if you hadn't been here, this could have ended very differently. You did something incredible." Ethan just nodded humbly and walked to work cold, soaked, and tired. He never even learned the stranger's name. The next day felt normal. Ethan sat alone at school lunch, counting the few dollars he had saved so far. Still a long way from the laptop he dreamed of. After school, he returned to the grocery store to continue his shift. But something unexpected happened. "Ethan," his manager called out, "someone is here to see you." At the entrance stood the same old man from the park, alive, smiling, and looking much stronger. He was dressed in a clean, expensive suit and leaned on a polished cane. "Sir, you're okay," Ethan exclaimed. "Yes," the man said warmly, "thanks to you." He introduced himself. "My name is Henry Caldwell." Ethan's eyes widened. Henry Caldwell was a billionaire, the owner of one of the biggest tech companies in the state. People in town talked about him all the time. "You helped me without knowing who I was," Henry said. "You didn't hesitate. That means more to me than you know." Henry reached into his coat and handed Ethan an envelope. Inside was a check for $50,000. Ethan stepped back, shocked. I can't take this." "Yes, you can," Henry replied gently. "It's not a reward, it's an investment in your future. You saved my life, Ethan. Let me help shape yours." Ethan blinked rapidly, fighting tears. He had never held so much money in his hands before. But the surprises didn't stop there. "I'd like to meet your mother," Henry said. Ethan hesitated, embarrassed about their small, rusty trailer, but he nodded. Henry's driver took them to the trailer park. Ethan's mother was outside hanging laundry when she saw the fancy car. Ethan rushed to tell her everything. She broke into tears and hugged him tightly. Henry stepped forward and said, "Ma'am, your son is extraordinary. You've raised a hero." Then he handed her a second envelope. Inside was a deed to a fully furnished, 3-bedroom home in a safe neighborhood. Ethan's mother gasped, shaking her head. "We can't accept this. It's already in your name," Henry said. "Let this be my gratitude for the kindness your son showed me." But the final surprise was for Ethan. Henry held out a new, top-of-the-line laptop, the very thing Ethan had been working and saving for. "Use this well," Henry said, "because starting today, you have a full scholarship through college if you choose it. I want you to have every opportunity you deserve." Ethan couldn't hold back his tears. He hugged Henry tightly, overwhelmed by the kindness he never expected. In the weeks that followed, Ethan and his mother moved into their new home. For the first time, they had warm meals, peace, and hope. Henry often visited, becoming like a grandfather figure in Ethan's life. And every time Ethan passed by Maple Park, he glanced at the gazebo where it all began. He would smile softly and whisper to himself, kindness always finds its way back.